Welcome to the Knighthood Podcast, a comprehensive weekly analysis of the Newcastle Knights 2024 NRL season, brought to you by Michael and James. So fire up and let's go. Hey James, round 22 done and dusted. How you going?
Oh mate, yeah, not too bad. In a bit of a makeshift cave today, but we'll get,
Well,
get through it. Oh, yeah, so my lounge room just flooded from the apartment next door. Wow. So my whole lounge room just got absolutely, all the carpets completely needs to ripped out and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I couldn't be out there doing this. So I had to move into the bedroom, and it's
so this year you've had a flood in the lounge room, and you've had the lights went out as well. Remember?
Lights went out. Yeah, it just keeps on happening. But
is it how things roll up in Queensland? That's a Queensland thing, is it?
For me at the moment, yeah. I'm not sure what the hell's going on this season, but you know what? We just keep moving forward, and you always, the show must go on, as they say in the classics.
Show must go on. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Well, mate, speaking of the show, I reckon we get cracking into it. We're going to be running over the Newcastle Knights round 22 review and the round 23 preview for the 2024 NRL season tonight. Let's go. First half of the show, we will be doing a review of the round 22 loss to the Panthers. Then we'll be going into the Knighthood Player of the Year 3-2-1 update, checking out the NRL ladder with the buys taken out. We'll be going over our season review. So every week on the Knighthood podcast, we've been keeping notes on the season's results. So we've got a score, a pass or a fail to share there. We've also, the next part is the run home. So we're going to look at our last 5 games coming into the end of the season. And right at the end of the first part of this show, first half, we're going to look at KP, his record in 2024. Then moving on to the second part of the show, we're going to be running over the round 23 injury and suspension update for both sides, having a look at the team list review, including the ref and the weather, running through our round 23 analysis. We're taking on the Tigers at home on Sunday at McDonald Jones or Marathon Stadium. And then we'll be having a look at the betting results for round 22 and then looking at our tips for round 23. So just a quick note, if you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, you can also skip you can't skip on Spotify and iTunes, but you can skip on YouTube. So when this thing isn't live, we've got certain sections, and you can just scroll through into different sections. So if you want to watch the first half of the show, the review or the preview, the second half of the show, you can skip or even go to the betting section. So you don't have to go for the full hour or so with us. And yeah, thanks to shout out to everyone on Spotify and iTunes listening in as well, because we're getting some listeners there, James, and it's gaining momentum every week, which is cool. So look, let's get into it. Do you want to run through this first slide, James?
If I can read it. Actually, it's quite small, the font. I can't sort of
Oh, that's okay. Well, so we went down to the Panthers on Sunday, 22-14. 3 tries to 2. Cleary got that try in the 69th minute, and that sort of ended our day pretty much. Panthers got 3 out of 3 conversions. Knights got 2 out of 2. So goal kicking was good quality from both sides. Panthers also got 2 out of 2 penalty goals, and the halftime score was 14-6. Have you got any initial thoughts on the result there, James?
You know what? I thought they started pretty solid. I thought they had a crack. They really played like they gave a crap. But the thing was, there was a lot of things that weren't up to scratch in the game as well, like ill discipline at the wrong time, and giving the Panthers a leg up. And I also just got the feeling that Penrith were just sort of like coasting along. We weren't really throwing up a lot at them. So look, there was effort, but I can't, like, in our kicking, and was pretty ordinary attacking kicking anyway. Even the commentators mentioned that they were really giving them a bit of a roast about that, not competing for balls and stuff. So look, effort, but really, again, like game plan wise, and just sort of not just throwing enough at teams to cause drama. especially the Panthers, who are like, the best team. So you got to
Yeah.
really, you got to do something special to beat a team like that.
Yeah, for sure. If you get a chance there, just have a quick look at the volume of your microphone. We're going to run into some stats.
Bit loud.
We'll check it
Is
out
it
in a sec. Possession and completions. So on the left, I think we've got the Panthers. On the right, we've got Newcastle. So Panthers completed at 52% to our 48%. Time in possession was about 3 minutes in favor of the Panthers, with 29 minutes to our 26. And the completion rates were pretty similar, 88% to the Panthers and 87% there to the Knights. Any comments there, James?
When I was following the game, I noticed, both teams were completing pretty damn high. Because I couldn't watch the game live. I just saw some stats, and So, I mean, when I did go over the stats, the Panthers seemed to be pretty dominant in everything. But good to see the Knights completing at a decent level.
Yeah, look, this is part of the slogfest footy from Adam O'Brien. He wants the team to get the basics right, have a high completion rate, get to end of sets, put the ball deep in the half, and good kick chase, and then try and win the ruck and do all of the little things that you have to get right to win games of footy. The thing that we haven't been able to do is combine those tactics with attacking style of football and build combinations, because he keeps changing the team around and the halves around. So, yeah, look, it's frustrating, I think, because ultimately the effort's there and we have the talent in the team. But a couple of things I just touched on there, I think, potentially we could have won this game. If we played our cards right and built the season better, there's no reason why we couldn't have beat Penrith. But I also agree with you, I think, and I've made some comments around us. We were flat out, doing our best, kind of 100%. And I reckon the Panthers were kind of in second or third gear, and they kind of adjusted their intensity to match us. And look, we did get into the arm wrestle, and we probably got them a little bit nervous towards the end, but it only took a simple ball from dummy half to Cleary, and he just ran through us, and Ponga missed the tackle, and Brayley bumped off, and they scored. Yeah. And when they wanted to score, they scored on the set, the first chance that they had, and that's the difference.
Yep. And I think that's what happens with the good teams. They can sort of, they sort of time how they play. They can go up gears. We tend to just be very one-paced.
I think Penrith are really masters at it. I've noticed that they do enough to win the regular season games. And if that means that they slip a couple of games here and there, because I know that the Dragons, I think, beat them at home, and also the Cowboys this year. So their depth of the squad hasn't been as good as it was in previous years, but it's still very good. So yeah, it's kind of like if you're grappling with someone. I'm not a fighter or a wrestler or anything, but you kind of adjust to the level that you're at. It's kind of like they had a hold of us, and they were taking it easy. I don't think they were out of second or third gear.
Yeah. Let's
get through some more stats. In terms of attack, our all-run meters was 1,884 to their 2,248, so they still travel further with the ball. Post-contact meters was pretty even there, around 750 meters for both teams. A positive there for the Knights is that we made 4 line breaks, because previously we have been struggling. The Panthers made 5. Tackle breaks was pretty even. Average set distance was slightly in Penrith's favour. Kick return meters, 225 for them, 182 for us. Not too bad, especially considering you've got Fletcher Sharp on one wing. And average play to ball speed, we actually won the play to ball speed. So that's I don't know how accurate that stat is. I always question it, but it's not.
We'll take that one.
We'll take it. Yeah, we'll take it. So offloads, 6 to us, 9 to the Panthers. I'd still love to see KPP, running some plays to do offloads. But I just think, once again, Adam O'Brien, the way he's instructing the team to play, those kind of things are cut out until they get the basics right, the foundational stuff right, and then he can build on it. I'm pretty sure that's how he's viewing things. But we're in round 22. You're probably talking like that in round 6 to round 10. We shouldn't be talking like that in round 22.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
he seems hell bent on going down with the ship. When it comes to just sticking to that style, like there's no plan B or anything, is there? It's just we're doing this, and if we make the semis or not, that's just how we're going.
Yeah, I think we're starting to get a bit of a feel for that that kind of trajectory, I guess, that he's got the team on, and as far as I'm concerned, they're still pretty coherent to the game plan. And we'll get into that in a second. We'll finish off these stats. So nothing else there really stands out that we really need to cover, except when we get to kicking, 846 meters for the Knights. So Gamble's long kicking game was really good. 525 for the Panthers. So we out-kicked them in distance, which is, quite impressive. We got 2 forced dropouts to their 1. Kick defusal for both sides was really high this week, 94% and for the Knights, 100 for the Panthers. Bombs, we put up less bombs, 10 to the Panthers, 6 to the Knights, 4 grubbers each. Our short kicking game failed. The long kicking game was good from Gamble. You got any thoughts there, James?
I mean, the one thing that stood out for me was those sort of nowhere kicks. They weren't bombs, like really towering bombs. They were sort of like up in the air, but they weren't competing for them in attacking zones. And it seemed to happen too often. At least have a crack.
It's like it's been happening all season. It's obviously something that they practice at training.
Yeah, and it's like they're just more willing to allow the opposition to grab it and then have them work out of a corner rather than take that risk.
It's definitely got its time and place, and I don't at certain. It
has worked.
I feel like there was more variety with the kicking. I think the kicking game was improved in this match, and I think the execution of the short kicking game wasn't there because primarily because Hastings wasn't there. Hastings' short kicking game is actually, I think, excellent. And I think we actually made a mistake potentially dropping Hastings. If we had his short kicking game combined with Gamble's long kicking game there, who knows? It might have played better in terms of kicking. In terms of overall attack, look, I think we looked a bit sharper with the ball, a bit faster, a bit more energetic is what O'Brien said. I think Hastings is very controlled and kind of slow. And he's got an interesting style. They're obviously the chemistry's not working, and that's why they've dropped him. So, I think Gamble overall kicked well. He's got to work on his short kicking game. It probably didn't help that Crossland got taken off. Maybe his short kicking game is actually pretty good too. So if he wasn't off the field, we had Cogger there, but you can't expect Cogger to be screaming for the ball. So anyway, look, that's where it's at. There's some stats there. We're getting through these stats further. Our effective tackle was 85% in defense to the Panthers 88%, so pretty close. Tackles made very similar, 334 to the Knights, 354 to the Panthers. Missed tackles 46 to the Knights, 37 for the Panthers. Ineffective tackles 15 for the Knights and 11 for the Panthers. So overall, defensively, our system seemed to be pretty good. However, we did concede a couple of tries on both edges. So it's kind of like when the Panthers really wanted to turn it on, they kind of hit us on the edges and it worked. Negative play, we made 6 errors to the Panthers 7. We conceded 10 penalties to the Panthers 6. We had 2 ruck infringements to Panthers 0. Don't know how Panthers have 0. Inside 10 meters was 1 apiece, and on report was 1 apiece. You want to have a go at the refs, James?
I'll leave that to you. You love having a crack at the ref.
I gave you a chance.
No.
The ref had a 69% winning strike rate with the Panthers. And I think with us, it was something like 29%. So it was a glaring difference. And I thought pre-match that it would actually show up in the game, and it did, I think. Oh God. Okay, if we're going to talk about the refs, how about the decisions not to bin their players for high tackles in the second half at critical moments in the match? There was a match I watched before the Knights match, and another, I can't remember which match it was, but I heard the terminology medium force. I would argue that the Ponga one was medium force, if not actually, strong force. Strong force is a send off. Medium force is a sin bin. And force looks like it's just a penalty and on report. That's that actually kind of makes sense. If you're cooking a steak, you go, rare, medium, or well done. So that's how we're doing sin bins these days. And what are your thoughts on that?
Look, right, to me, when I saw it and when I looked at the replays, I thought he's 10 minutes. If they're going to be, well, they haven't been consistent, have they? But
it was clearly 10
in the fair dinkum department. Like, if one of our players did that to a Panthers player, they'd be in the bin. That's what I'll say.
I think at that stage in the match, this is my take. I think the ref was noticing that the Knights were in the match and they were gaining some momentum, and I think the ref at that stage and the bunker, they knew that if that player went off for 10 minutes, it would impact the game and Knights probably would have won. I think the way the momentum was going. So I think what the refs did is they made a decision to leave the player on the field so it wouldn't influence the end result.
Big call. Or was it a bit of square up for the forward pass that for the Frizzell try?
That's possible. That's possible too. And it was a clear forward pass. My eyes are not red and blue.
Yeah. No, you messaged me through the game. You said, "Oh, we got a blatant try from a blatant forward pass," and I was just like, "About time we got something from the refs,"
Yeah, so, we did, but it looks like they they got it back. They squared us up. So, look, if you factor that in, look, the better team won on the day quite easily. Really, I never really felt to me like we were in it. That was as close as the scoreline was. I never really thought we're going to win this match.
No.
So, if we run over some player stats, now we get this data from Fox Sports, so it's a little bit all over the shop in terms of the order of the players there. But are there any players there that we'll get to our 3-2-1s pretty shortly, James? But are there any players there that you thought didn't aim up?
Not that I noticed, like, during the game. I'm trying to go through the stats now, but obviously my eyesight's pretty ordinary and that the font's small. But going off the top of my head, I didn't see anyone who really had a dead set shocker. Maybe I missed something, but
no, I don't think so. I think most just running my eyes here through the list. Jack Cogger. Sorry, he played 14 minutes, I think, and he missed just such an easy tackle. I think it was on the Targo. He just cut through us from inside of our half around the 20-meter mark. He just went through him like a wet paper bag. It's a turnstile, man. And I just can't believe that Jack Cogger's got. He showed. I've watched some New South Wales Cup matches in full. Whilst he's been playing, he's done nothing. I can't believe he was picked in the 14 jersey. And if we had Hastings in the 14 jersey, that would have been a much better selection. Hastings' defense is good. He wouldn't have got through there. Even if we had Will Price, as you, that was your vote for last week instead of Cogger. So,
yep.
I just, I I'm very critical on the coaching selections this year. He's made some really odd calls, and the fact that Cogger was there on the 14, it's just I said it in last week's podcast. Definition of insanity is Jack Cogger.
I'm just not sure what is he meant to, like, he doesn't offer anything in that position off the bench.
Okay,
there's
so
nothing.
he offered in the game as it played out is Phoenix Crossland did go down HIA, so was perfect cover, but he did absolutely nothing, and he was a liability in defence. So he just shouldn't be in the team. As far as I'm concerned, he'd be the first player I'm shopping, not Daniel Safidi, who's actually
stood up. Go. Yeah, the last few weeks he's really been having a crack. Yeah, I can't fault his.
We'll get to the 3-2-1s. He's in our top 8 players of the year. Him and Jacob. So even though they've been inconsistent, we're not getting value for money out of someone who's on probably around 700K this year. There's other players I'd pick before him being shopped. So. With that being said, I did say that maybe it's time to break the Safidis up, and I probably still stand by that. But yeah, I guess we'll get into recruitment another time. But who are they going to replace him with? That's the question. Are they going to replace him with Sebastian Sewer? I don't think they're going to spend money. From what I've been reading, they're not going to go and recruit someone else at the same money.
The only time I saw Sebastian Sewer play was in one of the trials earlier in the year, and I thought he was quite impressive for a young bloke. But
yeah, he was. I've seen him play in the South Wales Cup, and he's pretty green.
He is, yeah.
And then do they recruit some players from Queensland out of the Q Cup? Maybe that's a strategy. Anyway.
Well, they've got to do something, don't they? Because they've sort of Hetherington's been tapped on the shoulder, apparently, hasn't he? So he's our sort of backup front row from the Leo Thompson and the other guys. So if you're losing both, like with one Saifidi and Hetherington, that's leaving you pretty damn thin in that position.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to our standout performances and who got our 3-2-1s coming up in a second. But look, I think overall, the only player I wasn't happy with on the field was Cogger. Sorry, mate, nothing personal, but you just, your performances this year haven't been good. So that's what we're here to do. We're here to rank the plays based on performance, not personality. We're going to go in now to the press conference notes. Adam O'Brien said it was a mixed performance. Said he was proud. He always kind of says this. He said there was a ton of effort, and he said they gave away too many penalties, and there was a poor end of sets on the try line. Were quite costly. He said that when you add up all the little things, that's what wins footy games. It's pretty hard to disagree with him there. And he thought that they looked energetic with the ball when he was questioned on the halves combination. And when asked if he thinks that they can make the finals, he said the defensive systems are working, but they need to improve their attack. And he mentioned that when the team's backs are against the wall, they have stood up before. So we're going to find out this week, aren't we, James, against the Tigers, if their backs are definitely against the wall and if they're going to stand up. Okay, so he said also the team changes was his attempt to do anything to win footy games.
I don't agree with that.
That's his statement, and he says that he will fill the team with players who are going to have a go. And he said that if they fix the discipline and apply the same tactics, they'll give themselves a chance to win. So I think what he's saying there is if they cut out the penalties, the silly penalties, they probably would have gave themselves a chance to win that match. But, I really believe the thing here that hasn't been addressed is Panthers were in second and third gear. And we would never really look like winning this match.
And also what he's like, they're not throwing enough at teams to put points on. Like we're the worst attacking team in the comp. Like
Yep.
where are we winning these games, scoring less than 18 points a game? Like he seems oblivious to the fact that we don't score points.
Yep.
You just can't grind out 16 points to 14 wins every week in the NRL. You got to score points.
I can see where he's coming from. You need to get the basics, the ABCs right in footy, and that's as simple as run hard, get out of your own territory, put in a good kick, chase the kick, try and pin him down, try and control the ruck, don't give away penalties, and get into an arm wrestle and wait for the other team to blink first, and get into a cycle of that. You got to be fit and you got to have a good attitude, and you get that right, and then you earn the right to attack. But when we get into attacking positions, we are diabolical.
Yeah, there's just nothing happening, really.
Yeah, and it seems like all of their energy goes into doing all that stuff that we just said, all the ABCs, and they've got I don't know, have they been practicing their attack enough, or are they not doing the right things? And we're going to get to some we'll get to some comments here from Ponga, which I think we should reflect on and analyze. Ponga basically said, what we trained came out in the game. He said that if they fix discipline, they should have come over the top in that game. He basically just paraphrased what O'Brien said. I really think, okay, let's analyze this. When Kalen Ponga came back, and what was the game? Was it the Raiders game, right? Do you remember? That was the game before to get him into Origin. Can you remember how sharp and how much effort he put into that game? Do you remember that performance?
Yeah. And he was very and he got picked off, obviously, off that one game.
Yep. So he really looked super sharp, and he also made some critical errors that really were pretty average. And Nelly cost us actually the game. But I just look at that performance and what this guy's playing for. Okay, so he's playing to get into Origin. It was clear, like he wanted to come back early and play State of Origin, and I've got no issues with that. But I don't think his focus was on the Knights. I mean, he came back, he backed up from Origin, and he was lackluster. And
he has been since.
There's
been no energy. There's no. He doesn't seem like the player that, and I hate going back to last year, but where he was just full of beans and just energetic and tearing teams apart. That's okay. He's like a shadow of that.
I reckon I got the take here, because ultimately what he said here in the press conference, and I watched this 2 or 3 times real close, he's basically just going along with what he's been told to do by Adam O'Brien and the way that this team, he wants the team to play and how he wants Ponga to plug in and play in this team. Another observation I've got as well is it did work in previous games this year when they were using Ponga as a decoy, and you noticed that Hastings was actually, Ponga was calling the ball and they were going away from Ponga. I think there's still a trend, and I don't think Ponga likes it, that basically they're trying to use him as a decoy, and Ponga's not demanding the ball in the key moments when he should be getting the ball, and they're trying to use him as a decoy, but what they're doing is just so terrible. Like it doesn't work. I think Ponga's going through the motions. I reckon he only turned up in the last 20 minutes of that game when they were in it. The first 60 minutes, he was very quiet. The commentators, Cooper Cronk brought it up 3/4 of the way through the first half. So I really believe that Ponga's just really adhering to what O'Brien is driving into them at training. And I think the rest of the team and the players are buying into it. And Ponga's now I reckon internally, he's not happy. He's fed up. He's just going along with it. And you can see that in his performance. There's no energy there. The energy's there. You could see it in the last 20 minutes. He turned it up a couple of notches. And you could see like he did a couple of beautiful passes left and right to wingers. and he cut through and almost created tries for us. So, yeah, I reckon he's going through the motions. I don't think he's happy with the tactics of the side. I'm pretty sure he's not happy not winning and not being in a winning team. And I reckon I don't think O'Brien has really managed Ponga very well at all over the course of his time in Newcastle. You could look at the experiment in the 6 jersey. That led to the concussion as well. And actually, another thing I've analysed is last year, before we went on that run, can you remember Kalen Ponga came back from the head knocks and he played against Parramatta and we got actually absolutely touched up?
Yeah, by about 40 comebacks.
He played terrible. Obviously, he was, probably not confident because of the head knock stuff and a bit underdone. And then after that, the team struggled. We actually lost by 8 points to the Panthers, and then that was the match before we came out and flogged the Bulldogs 66-0. Something happened there. Now I don't know whether Ponga just sort of thought, "Fuck this! I'm just going to go for it, and I'm going to demand the footy and go on. I'm going to be the center of this team." I don't know what happened, and we're still analysing that 9-match, 10-match win streak, aren't we? Wondering where that is. And then, look, the last point I'll make, James, is the last 3 matches we've played against the Panthers, we've lost by 8 points. The first of those losses was last year, and that's what let us go on the run against the Bulldogs. So we lost by 8 points at Penrith, and then we went on the run. So this match this week, there's only 5 games left in the season. You'd think that maybe this is the time the boys are going to go on a run, if they are going to go on a run. Anyway, that was a lot of stuff on Ponga. I've had, as you can see, I've been putting in a lot of analysis and thought into this to see if we can get it right, because it's extremely important for the success of this side.
Oh, there's some great points there, particularly about the way he's being managed and stuff like that. Because, I mean, these sort of free spirit type players, these guys who can attack and stuff like that, you don't see other coaches sort of stifling that creativity and you know what I mean? They work around guys like that, whereas he seems to be completely just AOB's got him. He's got to be rigid, and this is the way he's got to be, and that can't be good for a guy who likes to just play the way he does.
Nah,
it's got to be pretty mentally it mustn't be good for the guy. You wouldn't see a Wayne Bennett.
He's just going through the motions. He's just going through the motions.
Yeah, he's not happy,
and he's our captain. Kalen
Ponga's
our captain, so we look, we need him to be at our best if we're going to make the 8. It's not looking too good at the moment. So anyway, that's the press conference review. James, run us through your final analysis.
Yeah, first point. I thought we started the game solidly in defence. We were able to score the first try. Next point, some ill discipline proved costly. You can't afford to give the Panthers a leg up the field. And I felt we did that at crucial times in that first half. We were sort of, we were handling ourselves quite well, but then we just sort of, would give away a stupid penalty. And the Panthers did it a few times as well. So both teams were sort of doing that. Next point. In general, the Knights were quite solid and energetic in the first half, but it was clear the Panthers weren't at the top of their game. They were just coasting as far as I was concerned. Next point. Yeah. The Knights grinded away with the Panthers in the opening 25 minutes of the second half, eventually leveling the scores at 14-all with 15 to go. Right then, you think we're in with a shot, but again, we were sort of still didn't feel like we were going to win. It would have, the Panthers are the masters of nailing and icing those games, aren't they? Next point, the Knights couldn't go on to win the match with the experience of the Panthers side getting them home. Obviously, Nathan Cleary pulling out the big guns at the end. And overall, the effort was good, but some defensive lapses and ill discipline cost the Knights. Their attacking kicker game was also quite ineffective in this game.
Yeah. Okay. There's some good points there. And before I get into my analysis, I'm just going to bring up Angelo's comment here, mate. Hey, Angelo, shout out, mate. Hope everything is good there. Thanks for chiming in. He says, hey, guys. He said that the sin bins definitely should have been given, and it shifted the momentum, and thought probably Penrith were probably the better side. So it looks like Angelo's seen things pretty similar to us as well, and he's also come up in here to say that he thinks it's safe to say that finals are gone. Well, we'll have a look at that in a second when we get up to the remaining part of the season. We've got 5 matches to go. We'll share our thoughts in a second there, Angelo. So I'll get into my analysis here. Oh, there we go. Rightio. So, okay, the effort was there. Okay, there's no question the effort was there, and the players bought into the coach and what he's trying to do, and they turned up and they played. They played a solid match. Okay, they put in the effort. I thought that they looked sharper in attack without Hastings, but they couldn't finish off their opportunities. They look really ordinary once they get in attacking positions. They never look like scoring. Good try to Safedi, though, crashing through early. That was good. But I think a note there is that we missed the short kicking game from Hastings. Our completion rate and general grind was solid at 87%. The defense was solid, but our edges got caught out and cost us. Stupid penalties also cost us. And God, Hetherington, I've been a pretty big supporter of him, and I'd encourage him to be a bit more aggressive, but not in a stupid way. God, a couple of the penalties he gave away were just absolutely stupid. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe this is just too much of a loose cannon, and he just maybe he does need to move on. The refereeing generally was in favour of the Panthers. That was my observation. I thought the 2 high tackles should have been sin bin, at least one of them, and the bunker's a joke, as we all know.
Absolutely.
I've made a note there that Ponga looked uninterested for 3/4 of the match, as I touched on. I've also touched on that Cogger is a liability, and I thought it was a terrible coaching call to have him in the side. And overall, it's another mediocre performance, and it's a real mixed bag. So at the end of the day, we lost, and Penrith were in second to third gear, I think, for most of the match. And when the match was there to be won, they won. That's it. We are now in round 22, going into 23, and we're not in a really good position. We've got to win 5 matches to make the finals. Let's run through our 3-2-1 before we get into the next part of the show. James.
My 3 points. Daniel Saifidi. I thought he was really strong again in the beginning. He was very making plenty of yards, plenty of aggression. Scored that early try.
Your mic's breaking up a bit there.
Yeah, I think
maybe
I'm having I'm having some connection issues. I think. Am I still breaking up?
Let me see. It could be me too. I've just made an adjustment. There we go.
You got me?
All right, let's go. Yep.
All right. So, I thought I was impressed with Daniel Saifidi. Thought he had a really strong game. He got my 3 points. I thought Greg Marzu had one of his better games of the season. He was really good, really safe for once. 2 points for me, and he made plenty of yards. Dylan Lucas, look, I feel sorry for the guy when he's out in the centers. He gets thrown in different positions, and but I felt he was really strong again. He was really aggressive in defense. Got caught out a couple of times, but he got my 1 point.
Yeah. He made a pretty bad defensive decision, which led to a try. But apart from that, he was really good. Okay, so look, I haven't been a huge supporter of Marju's attitude earlier in the season, but I would say now that's totally turned around, and enough for me to actually say that I thought he was the player that put in the biggest effort out of everyone, and did the hard work, and he gets 3 points for me this week. Thought it was
well deserved.
a really, Really well-deserved high energy performance. Daniel Safidi, obviously he played really well. Alpha kind of male footy, which is what we need. We just don't get it enough from him. And then Jaden Brayley, I thought his service was good. I thought he made 44 tackles. He missed 3 tackles. It looked like he was the one that missed the tackle at the end when Cleary scored, but it was actually Ponga's missed tackle. The first contact was rubbish. He bounced off Ponga, and then that made it hard for Brayley to catch him, and that's all she wrote. But yeah, I thought overall Brayley and some of his darts were pretty good too.
Yeah, impressed with his darts, and he's not normally known as dangerous out of dummy half, but he looked really impressive when he done it in that game. So he should do it more.
I think it's one of his better games of the year. So that's a good sign. Maybe that's a sign of things to come for Brayley. He did have, some pretty bad injuries, and maybe his confidence was a little bit down, and maybe he's starting to feel a bit better in his body, and he's putting the ball on the line, and he knows that that potentially want to get rid of him too.
Yeah.
So, player of the year ladder, just quickly: Bradman Best on 25 points, Dylan Lucas on 21, Dane Gagai on 20, KPP on 19, KP on 18, Daniel Safidi 17, Jacob Safidi 15, and Jackson Hastings on 13. So we've got 8 players there. So Jackson Hastings is amongst our best 8 players. He wasn't even selected in the team. KP hasn't got a point for a while, or KPP. And Bradman Best obviously looks like he's out for the rest of the year. So at this stage, it's there for KP's taking, isn't it? 5 matches. There's 15 points there. If he gets 5 man in the matches, he can smash it.
Yeah. I think Dylan Lucas has also been a very consistent performer as far as getting points for us, like both of us. And he's in second spot there, so maybe he might take it out this year.
He might, and if he does, he deserves it. He's been pretty consistent. He's a really good player.
Yeah.
So let's have a quick look at the NRL ladder with no buys. Just bear with me for a second. I'll make it a little bit bigger so I can read it. So I've put it in green, orange, and red, just like the traffic lights. As far as I can see it, the top 6 teams in green are going to make the top 8. So well done to first and foremost to the Bulldogs. They've touched us up a couple of times this year, and it's actually that if I'm going to cheer a team on in the finals, it's going to be the Bulldogs. I just like what they're doing there. It's good club spirit.
I'm with you.
I don't mind the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys might cause some problems in the finals, especially if they make the top 4. I'm not a big fan of the Sharks. I think the Roosters have shown that against the Storm and the Panthers, they don't really have an answer there for those teams. So, I don't know. Maybe my top 3 teams at the moment who may win the comp would be the Storm, the Panthers, or maybe a sneaky Cowboys. And then if you have a look at the orange, so we've got the Sea Eagles, the Dragons, the Dolphins, the Raiders, the Warriors, the Titans, and the Knights, all competing for the last 2 spots in the top 8. We are 2.5 wins away from Manly, who are in 7th. And the Dragons are in 8th. They've won 10 matches from 19 played. We've also played 19. So we're 2 matches behind them. But our for and against is not, we're not going to catch up probably on for and against unless we flog a few teams. And that's probably not going to happen. So I think if we don't win the next 5 games, we'll probably kiss finals goodbye for the year.
Yeah, I'm with you there. It's look, the guys can see it as basically they got to win every game, and you should be going into every game to win it. But it's pretty plain what they have to do now. Like they should be sitting there going, all right, let's just nail these 5 games, and then we're in the semis or we get into the 8. I personally just don't think they've got enough in them attacking wise to trouble teams. Look at one position above us, the Titans. They've got a lot of points in them, but Dolphins as well.
Yeah. look, I think we could turn it around, but to be frank, I don't think we will. It's quite possible, but the evidence at the moment is I'm leaning towards the Tigers win this week. I think I've been watching the Tigers a little bit. I think they're on the up, and I think they might pull our pants down this week. And if they do, there's going to be, as we've mentioned last week, there's going to be a lot of talk around Adam O'Brien's position in the club, which will be very warranted.
Yeah, look, I'm very worried about this game. The Tigers, they're a young side. They can get absolutely smashed by certain teams, but they can, again, they put 30 odd against the Cowboys, who put 40 something on them as well. But they got points in them.
They seem to have a lot of bad luck in games, and I reckon if they get the rub of the green and they don't lose players during the match, we'll go through the sides in the preview, but I'm leaning towards the Tigers win this week. Newcastle should win. We do have a better squad. And then then we've got to question whether the players actually turn up and play for the coach again, and are they really going to be able to turn it on when they need to? They haven't delivered at all this year, except in that period when Ponga wasn't in the side, and they played 4 wins in a row. So anyway, that's what we've got in front of us there with the ladder. In terms of the 2024 pass or fail, well, we add another game in here, round 22, after the round 21 bye. We lost by 8 points to the Panthers. I thought it was a good effort, but we weren't good enough. Simple as that. And if we can look overall, we've won 8 matches. We've lost 11. Now, interesting thing here is that Adam O'Brien's overall record winning percentage with the Knights since he started, and this is now his 5th season, his record's 45%. And at the moment, we're hitting at 42% for this year. What does that tell you?
That tells you we are where we should be under his coaching.
That's a fair call. I'd be more inclined to say that, coming into this season, we thought, Adam O'Brien's been there for 4 years. The boys went on a really solid run towards the end of last year. We didn't lose too many players out of our main starting 17. And we also gained, like KPP in replacement for Fitzgibbon. That it's not like we lost Dom Young and we didn't replace him.
Yeah.
But really, one player on the wing doesn't really make up, the overall attacking of the side. So, look, it's been a terrible season. 42%. If you told me in that season preview we did, James, which is starting to feel like a long time ago now, if you told me that we'd be at 42% for the year, and his overall coaching record's 45%, I'd be saying he's got to be sacked, doesn't he? It's just a terrible record.
Yeah, like do we sign for another few years? Oh, it's been a shocker, particularly with how much hope and we were so excited at the start of the year, and it's just been shot to pieces.
It was warranted. It was based off the things I said. His 4-year tenant, time in the club, and the success of the team and the squad, how it was developing, and the players coming through, and some decisions they made with recruitment. Everything looked like it was trending in a direction where at least would, improve on what we did last year and be more consistent.
Yeah,
hasn't been. Adam O'Brien hasn't got the team selections right. He's shuffled. You made the call at the start of the season. He's going to change the halves around a lot, and that's probably the main reason why we don't have any cohesion in attack at this point in the season.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's just been spoiled for the fact that there's been too many halves there, and he has chopped and changed, and we picked it. So
yeah. Look, it's really disappointing. So we're failing, unfortunately, and failing to a level where, if it wasn't for the contract that he's got, that the 3 years and the financial liability that would cause to the club, if the club made the wrong decision signing him, and especially for 3 years, that's So this season
Oh.
plus 3 more years. That was, maybe you would have looked at 2 years if you re-signed him or give him an extra year. So he's got 2 years like this year and next year. Bad call from the club. And, some bad roster management by the looks of it as well, with some back-ended contracts. And it's not looking great for next year and the shuffling around of the roster. So it doesn't look like at this stage, if O'Brien stays at the club and things stay relatively the same and they've got to tinker around of the roster next year, I reckon we're not making the 8 next year.
No, I think you mentioned it last week. It's just we're going into another rebuild. It's like, how many rebuilds can we go through? Nathan Brown put in the hard work and got the for O'Brien to take over. And do you know what I mean? Like it's really disappointing to see how things have panned out.
Yeah. Rightio. So let's get into the final 6 rounds. So Angelo, if you're still out there, mate, we'll answer your question now. We're going to make the finals. Sorry, just bear with me for a second. Okay, so let's get into it. So Angelo, you can't see 5 out of 5 personally. Cronulla and the Rabbits in isolation are tough games, but even the Tigers I could see getting a win too. So from what I can see, let's run through it. Look, this is a massive match against the Tigers. If we lose it,
it's over.
It's over. Yeah, it's over. And I want to see Adam O'Brien's head chopped off. Not literally, just in terms of his tenure at the club. It's just not acceptable. And I don't want to support a mediocre football team. As much as we have supported. How long do you put up with it, James?
Oh, I mean, it seems to have been going on for 20 years now, hasn't it? I mean, don't want to hark back to the Joey days, but Joey retired in 2006, 2007. It's getting on close to 2 decades now of being a basket case. We've had multiple wooden spoons. Nathan Brown went through some really tough periods and rebuilt the club. He basically sacrificed himself for the club, and I feel like we're going backwards again.
It's and maybe it's necessary to go back another step to go forward. I can see the club going forward in the future, but in the short term, if we miss the finals and there's a lot of controversy around O'Brien, I'm not seeing next year, especially with the salary cap the way it is. We're not moving into a premiership window. We're moving into a rebuild. So that's just shit as far as I'm concerned after everything we've been through. So, look, it's a big match this week against the Tigers, and for what they got the rest of the season, really, the Sharks is probably the hardest game there. I know that you're worried about the Titans game there, James. I think the Rabbits have got a lot of injuries at the minute, so we should be able to get the Rabbits if we're fair dinkum. So if we're fair dinkum, we should get the Tigers, we should get the Rabbits. It'll be a tough one against the Sharks, but if we're fair dinkum, we'll turn up and have a go. And then you got 2 home games to finish the year. So you got Titans at home and Dolphins at home, both very winnable matches, and 2 teams that we've beaten already this year. So look, if we win 4 matches, we might just miss out because of for and against. If we win 5, we'll get in. That's my take at the moment. We might get lucky if we win 4 out of 5. We might get lucky and squeeze in. Geez, I don't know. I don't know where we go. I'm leaning towards Tigers this week, though.
Yeah, I mean, thinking about it this week, for some reason I just think the Tigers are gonna rock up and they're gonna throw the ball around. And it's whether or not we can go with them because, our slogfest footy's not gonna really time. I mean, the Tigers aren't going to care. They're just going to do what they do. I think it's a real dangerous game, and I'm with you. Like I've got a real I think
Yeah.
the Tigers might get us. So that's just my feeling.
We turned up against the Tigers and we played slugfest footy against them earlier in the year and we won. And what I'm seeing is that the Knights still haven't got their shit together, and the Tigers are starting to get their shit together. Their attack's been better than us. And I can see a lot of these young players in their side really starting to get some confidence. And I reckon we're going to see it this week against Newcastle, because generally what happens is against Newcastle, and we generally play teams into form. So you saw it with Brisbane, right? Brisbane, we should have beat Brisbane. If we came out in that first 20 minutes and executed, we would have won that match. But they didn't come out. They tried, but they fumbled. They dropped the ball. They didn't prepare to attack. And then they let Brisbane in the game, and then Brisbane took control and they won. So I can't see the Tigers taking control of Newcastle and doing what Brisbane did to us. So I think this potentially is going to be a high-scoring game, quite exciting. Maybe similar to that Parramatta game that we saw earlier in the season, not too long ago. But I just think there's a slight chance that this match will depend on what happens with KP. If he turns up in a mood, we definitely win. Yeah. If we hold the ball, do the basics right, and Ponga turns up, we win. There's no doubt about it. But if Ponga doesn't turn up, like he hasn't been turning up, and he just keeps going along with his kind of aloof kind of style, and kind of carefree, kind of Nate, not, at the end of the day, he's making good coin. He's doing what the coach is saying, so we can't really get in trouble for doing what the coach is saying, can he? He's protected.
No, but the thing is, I'm just concerned about how he's looking, and I'm not bashing the guy. It's just more, he just looks down to me. I don't know how he's just going to turn that around, and get excited.
Well, just keep in mind, though, it did happen last year. So we got beat by 8 points by the Panthers, and then out of nowhere, we came out and won by 66-0 against the Bulldogs. But if you're comparing the two teams, Bulldogs and Tigers, and the stage of the season they're in, the Bulldogs were really on a down at that point in the season, a lot of injuries, and they were really not in a good place. And, the Tigers are fighting, and they're developing a club. They're developing a spirit. And, this
is a real danger game.
Yeah. Angelo's chimed in again. So, this is a good question. So, is it preferable to miss the finals as compared to scraping in and getting flogged? Look, he's saying there's going to be a coach change, but look, the only way that I think O'Brien's going to get sacked is if we lose against the Tigers and he loses the playing group. So if we think O'Brien's not the right coach, the players should turn up and basically, not play for him and get him sacked. That's if we fumble through the last 5 games and win 2 or 3 games, they're not going to sack O'Brien. They've got to lose this match against the Tigers, and they've got to have a real bad end to the season if we want O'Brien to get sacked.
Yeah.
It's a tough one, Angelo, because there's part of me that kind of hopes that we do get beat this week by the Tigers, because I'm looking at the big picture and, having to go through another season with Adam O'Brien at the helm. I'm thinking I'd rather go through the pain this year and get beat by the Tigers, see him fall on his sword, and I'd like us to recruit what's his name from Parramatta? Brad
Arthur.
Brad Arthur. Yeah. So anyway, that's if I had my wish right now, if I had my say, I would say that Adam O'Brien's not going to ever take us to win a grand final. He's made too many mistakes in his time. I'd chop him and I'd bring in Brad Arthur. So, yeah. Am I cheering for the Tigers a little bit this week? As much as I hate to say it, yes, I am. So Angelo's also saying, is it worth taking a hit and playing some of the kids?
Maybe after this
I
game,
think at
if
this
they don't
stage,
win.
I think at this stage they're just got to keep doing what they're doing. Adam O'Brien's put what he thinks is our best side out there, and look, if they can come out and flog the Tigers and have a really good end to the year, that would restore some faith in me with Adam O'Brien. Not a lot. And I think I'd need to see Brad Arthur joining up in terms of an assistant role next year. That's really the best case scenario for us if Adam O'Brien stays, is that we finish the year on a good note, maybe make the finals, and then Brad Arthur comes in next year and they can kind of get something going together. But overall, the players that have come up from the younger players who have played this year for us have done pretty well. And Adam O'Brien is the coach, and he does deserve some credit for that. But yeah, in terms of, I don't think we're at that stage right now, Angelo. We're still challenging for a top 8 spot, and it's all on the line this week against the Tigers. And I really don't think Adam O'Brien's going to be trying to keep his job. So I don't think he's going to be taking too many risks in terms of younger players. And to be frank, there's not actually too many younger players screaming from New South Wales Cup to be given a run anyhow. So the last bit of the first half of the show, it's been a long one. KP 2024. I couldn't sleep last night. One of the things that got into my head is what's our record of KP this year? So this is our record. KP's played 10 games. We've won 3. We've lost 7 at a 30% strike rate. What's your reaction to that, James?
Yeah, it's not good, is it? I mean, is that all on him, or is it more the way he's been utilized by the coach? I'm probably going to blame the coach more. But in saying that, you want. That's why you've got these guys, these big paid players, there to win games. You don't want a 30% strike rate. That's not good enough for having a guy you're paying that much.
Yeah, I think the bottom line is that the coach shouldn't have been re-signed again on 3 years. So we're basically a 4-year contract with this year. And I think the club, it's hard to be too critical, but they definitely paid overs for Kalen. And with his personality, I don't think he should be the club captain. No. I don't think he should be paid $1.4 million a year. He's only paid, for example, he's played 53% of the matches this year. There, you can see it in the brackets. We're not getting the value at all from KP, and he's like he's kind of carefree attitude and the way he laughs in press conferences and stuff. It's just not what you'd expect from a captain.
He's not a natural leader.
Have a look at what's his name, Crichton from the Bulldogs. Yeah, that's what that's a leader. That's a captain. That's someone. I'd pay Crichton $1.4 million a year over Ponga.
Yeah, to me, Ponga's never been that type of player. Like he to me, the free spirit. You'll have him in your team and let him do his thing, but he's not a leader of men as far as I'm concerned. That's
he's not.
And
he's not. As much as he says he wants to be a leader and blah blah blah, he's not. So
no.
He's a rock star as what's his name? Wayne Bennett. Wayne Bennett said, if you want to be a rock star, stay in Newcastle. If you want to become one of the best players in the game, come to the Dolphins. That's what he said. So that's what he's chosen. So he's getting his $1.4 million and living in his house in Merriweather, and he's pretty comfortable and he's happy. And good luck to him. Hopefully he aims up this week. Or not. Let's see. Against top 8 sides this year, we've had 6 matches with Ponga playing, 2 wins at a 33% strike rate. So yeah, just to sum it up before we get into the second half of the show, we shouldn't have re-signed O'Brien on basically a 4-year contract, and the figures that we've signed KP for is a bit ridiculous. And considering his personality and all those things, you know, it doesn't help us at all with our salary cap position. Things are. The last thing I'll say is, like, I've been feeling, because we're analyzing this so much and we're getting so deep into it, James, like it's really hard to get enthusiastic at the moment. You know, like I'm on here basically saying that I wouldn't mind the Tigers beating us this week. Like, I didn't think I'd be saying that at the start of the year, and it's not. I don't want that to happen, but what I want more than a win on the weekend is I want success at the club, and I want us to be challenging for top 4 position in grand finals, and that's not happening right now with the way things are, is it?
No, it's been a totally dismal season, and I think, you know, some of the comments that we make, you know, like wanting the Tigers to win or something, you know, that just speaks of how frustrated and annoyed we are of how things are going at the club at the moment, and, you know, and a season just gone down the toilet, really. Yeah,
it is a season. It's looking like it's going down the toilet like a Harpic flush. Rightio. Let's get into a message from our season sponsor, MB Optimal Oral Care. MB Optimal Oral Care are our season sponsor of the Knighthood podcast. They have a range of zero plastic oral care products that are best for you and best for the planet. You can check out their full range of products via Chemist Warehouse online. Find the link in the description. Thank you, MB Optimal Oral Care, for sponsoring the Knighthood podcast for the 2024 NRL season. You can get MB Optimal Oral Care products on Chemist Warehouse online. Search MB OOC. That's EMBI, one word, OOC, second word, second letters. So, look, they got great products, award-winning tongue scrapers recommended by dentists. You know, you can. How's your tongue scraping going, James? You still giving the tongue a bit of a clean every morning with the tongue scraper?
Yeah, it's part of the routine. Sorry, guys, I'm in the darkness again.
That's okay. It's fine.
Falling over. I was trying to fix it very quickly, and I couldn't do it in time. But yeah, it's just yeah, I've taken to it. I think it's a great thing. I've noticed the difference in how much crap you get off your tongue, and then brushing after that. It's yeah, and I've never thought I'd be into that, and then now it's become a part of the morning routine. So yeah, glad to have tried it out. Yep.
James is feeling cleaner. He's feeling fresher, and he's improved his oral health because when you get that crap bacteria out of your mouth, it enhances the natural healthy bacteria in the mouth, and it can stop you from getting tooth decay and gum disease, and having things like bad breath, and just generally being unhealthy and having poor gut health and all these type of things. So jump onto Chemist Warehouse online, search MBEMBI OOC, and buy yourself a tongue scraper today. Okay, James, second half of the show. I got a bit of fatigue. It's been a big preparation for this one, and we're an hour and 8 minutes deep into this, blabbing on, talking about the Knights. So here we are, second half of the show. Injuries and suspensions, and I had a bit of fun with this one because NRL didn't get the injuries right on the casualty ward thing that we check. So the Knights at the moment, we've got a full strength rating of 82%. We've basically got 3 of our top players out of the, Bradman Best, David Armstrong wouldn't make the first side, but Jacob Sifidi would, and so would Tawala. So we're at 82%, and I've put some smiley face there just to have a little bit of fun. And also I've had to fix it as well for the Tigers because the smiley faces have been named in the team this week. So they're also at around about 82%. From their full strength team. So we're coming into this pretty even in terms of the squad strength from injuries. And then it's just debatable about who's got the best squad. And at this stage of the season, who's got, the right momentum. I reckon the Tigers have got some momentum. I reckon they might do a bit of damage in the last 5 games, have a bit of fun, and get it started at Marathon Stadium this week.
Yeah, well, actually, I think that's what they're gonna do towards the end of the year. They're just Benji's gonna be like, go out there, throw the ball around, have some fun. Let's finish off strong and go into the next year.
Let's think about it. O'Brien's under a lot of pressure, and the team's not playing well. Yeah. We're back at home. That adds pressure. And we're expected to win this game. All the pressure's on us. We're also $1.27 favourites to win.
And we rarely...
There's no pressure on the Tigers.
But we rarely handle this sort of pressure, especially at home. We always blow these types of games, so it's not looking good.
It's not looking good. Not looking good. Yeah, so look, anyway, Knights play the Tigers Sunday, 11th of August, 4:05 p.m. at McDonald Jones Stadium. We have played 37 matches against the Tigers in history. We've won 20, they've lost 17, or they've won 17. Last matches played, we beat the Tigers this year in round 10 without Ponga in the Slogfest, 20-14 in the wet. Remember that one, James? And then we got them last year, the Tigers, in round 20. So that was part of our win streak. It was a pretty close game from memory. Tigers, they didn't play too bad, but we were in form, and we're not in form right now.
Nope.
This is a pretty good overview. The current season, the Knights win percentage is 42% to the Tigers 20%. Points scored, 332 to the Knights, 367 to the Tigers. I think the Tigers may have played. Actually, I'm going to quickly just check this because I want to be as accurate as we can. I think the Tigers have played 20 games. Can you see there, James? Is that
played 20? Yep, down at the bottom.
Yep. So I was right.
Yeah,
they have 20. So then, really, our attack's not too far off them. So yeah, they've played 20. We've played 19. They've got a slight advantage, I guess, in their attack. They do look a little bit more flamboyant, willing to take risks than what we do, which I think could play well for them this week. Points conceded. Our defense is way better. 437 against their 614. They've had some blowouts this year, the Tigers. Completion rate, ours is 80%, theirs is 78%. Tackle efficiency, 89% to us, 87% to them. Average points scored, 18 Tigers, Knights 17. Average points conceded, 30 Tigers, Knights 23. So you look at that and you think, okay, well, we've got a slight edge, especially in defense. Question is, does Ponga, I think the key to this match is Ponga. Does he turn up and play attacking style footy and take the game by the horns early? If he does, I think we win. If he doesn't, plays like last week, Tigers will pull our pants down and I think they'll beat us.
Yeah, well, I mean, that is the key, isn't it? He's really got to just go out there and go take the game on, take it on. And
it's as simple as that.
$1.4
million. You're the club captain and we've got 5 matches to go. If we win all 5 matches, we're in the finals. Let's go. That's it. Simple as that, isn't it?
Pretty much.
And the bottom line is he hasn't been happy with the coaching and the way the team has been playing, and he's not happy. So if he just goes along with the game plan this week and doesn't really turn up with all of his effort 100%, then yeah, it's not looking good for us. We'll see. It's going to be interesting, one way or the other. So, James, this is the teams. You want to run through the backs?
I will do my best. It's quite small, but and I'm going to be squinting a lot. So
you can't use your phone. I'll run through it. That's all right.
Yeah, no worries, mate. That'd be great.
I'm in the zone. So, fullback for the Knights, Kalen Ponga. On the wings, we've got Fletcher Sharp and Greg Marju. In the centres, we've got Dane Gagai and Dylan Lucas. In the halves, we've got Tyson Gamble and Phoenix Crossland. Okay, so for the Tigers, Buller, very exciting fullback, very talented player. He's the fullback. So he's a danger player for the Tigers.
Absolutely.
Alamalo is on the wing. Solomon Alamalo. I don't know. I haven't seen too much of this young kid, but I did watch a bit of their match last week, and I was pretty impressed with these kids in this team. They look rangy, they look athletic, and they're gaining experience. And I'm scared. I'm scared. I think they're going to be faster and sharper than us. So anyway, so then on the other wing, you've got Charlie Staines. He's a pretty good player, pretty speedy player. In the centres, you've got Adam Dewey. He's a really solid player, very passionate player. And Fatapi, Solomona Fatapi. He's the other centre, a young, exciting player. He was actually, our commentators were giving him a rap last week. He's pretty robust. So I'm worried. I'm really worried about this back line. You've got Lockie Galvin, who's a potential future star of this game, and a good solid half there in Aiden Caesar. So, mate, I'm looking at that. I'm giving the Tigers an edge in the backs.
Particularly, as much as Dylan Lucas has been great this year, he's going to be tested again with these young, fast outside backs from the Tigers. They're going to be giving him a nightmare. That's our weakness, and it has been for quite a while since this year. It's we've been targeted in that area, and we will be targeted again this week. So it's going to be tough for Dylan again and Gags.
Yeah. Okay, in the forwards, we've got Daniel Safidi and Leo Thompson in the front row. Then in the back row, we've got Tyson Frizzell and Kai Pearce-Paul. And hooker, Jaden Brayley, and lock, Adam Elliott. So, strong pack. The matchup I'm looking forward to is Safidi versus, how do you pronounce Stefano's surname? Doesn't matter. We all know who Stefano is, don't we?
Yeah, I just Stefano.
Stefano, big bad Stefano versus big bad DSAF. That's going to be a cracking matchup. Looking forward to that. Coruscant in there at hooker. Really good crafty player. I'd give him the edge over Brayley. And then you've got David Clemmer coming back to Newcastle. Clemmer's good, man. He's a good solid player, and that'll be a good matchup versus Thompson. So it's a pretty feisty kind of lineup, isn't it? I reckon there's going to be a bit of niggle in this game. Especially in the forwards, I'm seeing it. And this Porter and Fanu in the back row for the Tigers, really exciting, athletic players, back row. I really reckon, I think Benji's cooking up something here with his team. I like it. And then you've got Papali'i in there in the lock, and he's an excellent player. The more I think about this match and look at it, the more I'm liking this Tigers side. Whether they're going to be able to close us on our home ground, and maybe we'll get them in a high scorer. I don't know. On the bench for the Knights, we've got Jack Cogger. Oh, Jesus Christ. How is he in our side again? You've got Matt Crocker, Jack Hetherington, and Brodie Jones. And then for the Tigers, we've got De Silva, Seafarth, Pole, and Chwal. Overall, I like that. I like that bench from the Tigers as well. I can't believe I'm talking to Tigers. I don't know. I like what Benji's doing. I like the side. I like it.
Look at our bench. What does that offer with regards to any sort of impact off the bench? I mean, you got the forwards there, but there's no X factor or someone who can come in and sort of create some sort of spark. The Turnstile's not going to do that. He's just going to be and like you said, the Tigers. I think once they, you said Benji's, cooking something up. It's like, well, they can score points once they get that defensive aspect nailed down, and whether it's next year or whatever, they're going to be a pretty handy team.
But just think about what you've said there. I think we might be finding some clues here for this match, right? The Knights' attack isn't great at the moment, so they've got a real good chance to actually turn up here defensively, don't they? The Tigers.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm saying. Like the Knights play teams into form, and that's if they don't attack well, the Knights, and the Tigers turn up and put in a lot of effort, and with their attack, the Tigers, and with our defensive, lapses on the edges, they're an athletic, fast team. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not looking good as far as I'm
It's not looking
concerned.
good. I'm not getting a good feeling about it. So on the extended for the Knights, you've got Thomas Kant. That didn't sound too good, did it?
Yeah, that's the next
Sebastian,
reel. That is. That's one of the best.
did you? I saw the United boys on the socials. They had this thing. I think it was a screenshot of the scoreboard of the Penrith. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see it.
It had Thomas Cant. He was in the 18. He was like one player, and then the next thing it said Coach Adam O'Brien. So it basically says can't coach Adam O'Brien.
Classic stuff.
It was gold. Good pickup. They got some good content. The guys. They've got some really good social stuff. So give the boys a. I'm sure everyone is aware of these guys. So anyway, hats off. It was. I like that. It was a great post. Someone probably shared it with you. So anyway, so yeah, we've got. It's good to see Sewer there. That's signs for the future, and that's what you were sort of leaning towards, Angelo. If you're still out there, mate. Sewer's a good. He's looks like a pretty aggressive kind of forward, and maybe he's the one that they're sort of grooming to take over DSAF. I really hope to see Jackson Hastings in replacement of Cogger or Will Price, and Mapalungi is. I'd be happy to never see him in a Knights jersey again. And then on their extended, they've got Heath Mason, Johansson. We don't even have a picture there. Joss Fieldy. I don't think I've heard of any of these players. Declan Casey and Tony Sakua.
I haven't heard of those guys.
Yeah, so look, that's the lineups. We've also got Belinda Sharp as a ref now. That's I haven't done the normal matchup with the percentages, because I think women have only started refereeing men's matches this year, so there's not enough history there to really read into it. I'm not a fan of the style of refereeing from Sharp from what I've seen this year, so that's it could go either way. I don't know. Look, I don't have any confidence in the ref. It looks like it might be a little bit wet, but not too wet, because it's not raining leading up the days before. So I don't think the conditions will affect it too much. But, I think it's probably in the Tigers' favour if it's drier. Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because they'll be wanting to.
I think our game plan is better, more suited to a wetter match. If it's a bit wetter, then that'll increase my confidence of us getting a win. And it did rain in the match earlier in the season where we got the Tigers.
Yeah.
Okay, so some analysis here, some points to consider. Do the Knights go on a run like last year after losing to the Panthers by 8 points and then smashing the Bulldogs 66-0, which we've touched on? Do the Knights turn up for the coach and the home fans? What do you reckon, James? Do you think they're going to turn up for the coach and the home fans?
I hope they do. Look, it's so hard to pick, and the amount of times I've gone, they're going to turn up, they're going to do this, and they just don't put in a performance.
Yeah,
I'm sort of leaning towards them not.
Yeah.
So I know that sounds bad, but that's just what my gut's telling me.
Yeah. Okay, so the other point here is the Tigers have been showing glimpses of class and building something positive, which I've touched on with some comments in the preview. And I think also the Tigers will see this as an opportunity to pull our pants down. There's no pressure. They're building. And there's a lot of question marks about our footy side.
Yeah.
And do we play slogfest footy, James?
Absolutely, we do. Do you mean do we as a team, or will they?
No, this match. That's the question: is are we going to turn up with that kind of mentality again?
I think they will, purely because that's what O'Brien wants them to do. I think if we really want to win this game, we've got to go out, and Kalen's got to go out with an attacking attitude and just with plenty of energy, and throw caution to the wind. if we play slogfest footy, in good conditions, if it's wet conditions, different story. But if we go out there on a beautiful, day, night, whatever, and play slogfest just for the hell of it, I think we lose.
Yeah. Okay. Right, yeah. Let's get on to the betting notes. So last week, James, you set out, and my bets were placed in the match. So I'll just run over this. So our bet wrap was that we had a live bet in the first half. I watched it. I was seeing good signs from the Knights, and I put some faith in them, and I took a bet at 13.5 plus at $1.82. And then basically, by the time half time came around, I lost faith, and I looked at things, and I hedged the bet. I took the Panthers minus 18.5 at $1.92 because I thought there was a good chance the Panthers would sort of run over the top of us at the end. So yeah, I won one and I lost one, and I think I lost. I thought I held on to the 9%. It actually has gone down to 8%. So I've had to do this a lot more often than I thought I would this year. Is hedge bets to protect losing profit. If I stuck that bet, the plus 13.5, I would have won. But at this stage of the season, I've got probably more of a mentality of trying to maintain and hold on to my profit as much as possible. I'd hate to have a losing season. My aim was to get to 25%.
Yeah.
Now, looking at it this week, if I was sitting on around 20% profit right now, I would probably lean towards going for the Tigers head-to-head and taking we'll get into the odds in a second. The odds are pretty juicy. And I might still go there. I think I'm going to wait until the pre-game and get a vibe for it. But at this stage, I think that the Tigers are a really good chance to beat us. I think if things go against Newcastle and the Tigers get on top of us, I reckon we really could drop our bundle. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think you're spot on there. I've got that same feeling. I think we're really on the cusp of dropping our bundle anyway. You can just see that and read that with certain individuals' body language, like Kalen.
Yeah.
All it will take is something to really, something not go on their way, and then the Tigers put on a couple of tries, and then they, season's over, and then they could put like 40 on us or something. That's how I think things could roll. But who knows? I mean, it's hard to say, but yeah. Look, that could very well happen, though. I think.
We'll get to the odds in a second. I've got out of all the games we've covered this year and the bets we've placed, this one kind of it gets the juices flowing. I can see there's opportunity here to make some really good bets. So yeah, like I touched on, my record's at 8% for the year. 8% profit is still good. It's I've tipped 16 winners out of 11 losses at 59%. So we're still in excellent sort of anything around sort of 60% plus is excellent. So I'm happy, but I've got to finish the season well. It's like I'm in the top 8 and I'm playing for a top 4 position. My goal is to get to 25% profit. If I play my cards right and don't lose too many bets from the next sort of 5 matches, I might be able to sort of nail that 25%. The other thing is if I roll the dice, and if I be too aggressive, then I could potentially be in a losing position for the year, and I'm not really too keen to lose capital after all the effort we've put in. So it's kind of a catch-22 situation at the minute. But I am seeing a real good opportunity here potentially with the Tigers this week. So yeah, anyway, tune into X around 30 minutes before the match to see our comments, and around 5 minutes before the match, I'll probably place a bet. Or if I don't, I'll let you know, and maybe I'll have a live bet. So the way to look at this one is that in a live situation, if the Knights get out to a good start, you'd probably think that they could go on with it at home. You know, if it looks like Ponga's come out with energy and they get into an early lead, maybe you'd take the Knights to cover any margin there is early. The other way you look at it is if the Tigers get off to a good start, you know, it's just a matter of time before when does this team actually give up and that's it for the season, like we just discussed.
Yeah.
So with the odds the way they are, it might be worth waiting for an in-play. If the Tigers score first, maybe you get in at that time after an early try.
Yeah.
So yeah, we really want to finish the year off strong with the betting. And I'm going to be, doing my best to get a winning bet this week and hopefully make it juicy. The Knights are $1.27 to win, brought to you by Top Sport. If you haven't a bet, have it with Toppy. Tigers to win, $3.80. Knights at the line, minus 10.5, $1.90. Knights 1-12, $3.35. Knights 13 plus $2.07. What are your thoughts, James? Are you going to wait until pre-match to have a selection on betting, or are you going to put your nuts on the line now and pick something?
No, I'm going to wait.
You've been on the sidelines for a while.
Yeah, the thing is, it's important for me I want to be in the plus at the end of the year. I don't want to make a poor decision and slide down into the negative. So, and I've got concerns about this game. What could possibly, change things for me is any sort of weather conditions that throw the game towards us. So I'm going to wait, and then if there's anything that's
good call,
I'm looking at playing the slogfest footy, as we like to say. Any sort of weather conditions that are conducive to those types of that style, then I might jump on the Knights. But at the moment, not looking likely. But I'll make that decision prior to the game.
Imagine, James, if you back the Tigers at $9.25 at 13 plus.
Yeah.
Jeez. Moment of silence there, folks.
I know, yeah.
Just, I don't know, man. I'm thinking. Who would have thought I'm thinking it could happen. Yeah. No. Well, for that reason, James, which you're making me think that if the Tigers do get off to a good start here, when do they give up?
Yeah.
And if they give, there's a good chance that they do. There's a good chance that the Tigers have been actually pretty good in first halves this year. And I can see the Tigers getting out to an early lead, and then if maybe that's enough to drive the nail in the coffin for the year. Because who knows? Maybe if the Tigers get out early, and there are some players starting to question whether they're going to turn up, that they're happy with the O'Brien. Maybe the effort just drops down to 80%, and then they get flogged.
Yeah, I mean, if the Tigers get out to an early lead, I'm trying to think back to the only game we have sort of come back from behind, and I think that was the Titans game where we were up, by about 16 or something. Then we leaked 26 and then ended up coming over the top of them. But other than that, I don't think we've ever been in that position I don't think we've come over the top of anyone after being down. So I think they could very well drop their bundle if they go down 12 to 18 points early, if the Tigers can put on a few tries.
Yeah, look, it's just a juicy. It's a juicy. We shouldn't be picking. We shouldn't be picking based off the odds, but when you actually think it's a strong possibility that Tigers get off to a good start, Knights drop their bundle, and maybe the Tigers go on with it. They're an athletic team. Yeah. Anyway, we'll look at some other markets as well. There might be some first half markets like for the Tigers. But at this stage, I think I'm leaning towards the Tigers at 380. If you had to pick one now, James, what would you pick?
Oh, I couldn't, to be honest. I'm just.
If you had to, there's a gun to your head. All right. So here we go back to the slide. So there's a gun to your head. Which one are you going to pick?
Yeah, it's got to be the Tigers.
You take the Tigers with the gun to you. You wouldn't take the $1.27.
The $1.27? No way.
With a gun to your head. With a gun to your head. For your life. You wouldn't back Newcastle at home at $1.27.
I don't think they're going to
win. That's a big call, huh? Yeah, I'll put geez, I don't know. The gun to my head, I think wouldn't that be a shit way to die? You know, your team just fucks you at home.
I've got that feeling, mate.
Bullet, you know, what a way to go out. The Knights lose at home at $1.27 and you get popped.
They always fuck us at home, don't they?
Jesus, man. Anyway, it's interesting, you know, just to consider some of these options of the betting and do it live so you can, you know, have a think about it yourself and take into account everything we've brought up here. It's comprehensive, probably the most comprehensive Knights analysis in Australia in terms of analysing for performance and for profit. And you know, the writings on the wall this year, we've got an 8% winning strike rate of about 59%. So we're doing something right. And James, the rookie's breaking even for the season. And, you know, he's doing really well, actually, in your first season of betting. You've never been a gambler or a bettor. So anyway, look, there's some really juicy options on the table for this week. And it's going to be an exciting game one way or the other. Tune into X 10 minutes before the match. Before I started the pod, I was leaning towards Tigers at plus 10.5. That's probably the smart money. So I'm saying that's the smart money. Take the Tigers at plus 10.5. I think at $1.90, that's the smart money. But I'd say at this stage, I'd probably, you know, gun to my head, I'm leaning towards that bet. I'd take the 10.5 points. Newcastle haven't been blowing teams away this year, so if they win, maybe that 10.5 points is enough. I actually think that's the smart bet for this week. But I am very tempted to back the Tigers head-to-head. Yeah, that's where it's at. So that's it, James. Any final comments? It was another marathon, but the content's been good, and you know there's some juicy stuff we've got to chat about tonight, all very relevant. What are you going to leave us with your final thoughts?
Yeah, mate, I've really enjoyed it tonight. I think we've you know, said some really valid stuff, and you know, obviously, you know, it's pretty tough times being a Knights supporter at the moment. You know, for us to be going and backing thinking, you know, it's hard to be going through this at the moment, but it is what it is, and I hate that term, but it is what it is. I'm hoping for a win and a good performance. I'm not confident that's going to happen this week at home. And on the final note, I just want to apologize for my poor lighting tonight, just due to what's happened. So hopefully next week, or definitely next week, I'll be back under better conditions and looking a bit more professional, because tonight's sort of just been trying to get through. So apologies to everyone out there for not looking so great tonight. But
you look all right, mate. You look all right.
Yeah,
you've done
just trying to deliver the goods,
mate. You adapt to the conditions and you turn up, and you know you do what's required. So you know you could have thrown a towel in. Let's hope the Knights don't throw the towel in on Sunday when the Tigers get in front by 12.
Well, that'll be it, mate. Hopefully they don't, but there is a high possibility that will happen, and I hope it doesn't happen. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see this weekend, and I'll let you know my final choice regarding the betting and that. But
yeah.
So
so we'll chuck it up on X pre-match and what James's final decision in and what my final decision is. And yeah, look, I've enjoyed the whole analysis leading up to this show, and I know there's only 5 games left, and I think this process that we've got's super tight now, and I think we're pumping out some good content and some really good critical analysis, some good takes, and I think we've been pretty spot on the mark this year. We want to be as accurate as we can and as factual as we can, and we don't have any bias. We don't have any inside connections at the club. We don't have any ties to the media or the players. So we sit out here and we're passionate 88 supporters, local boys from Newey, love the Knights and want to see the best for our club and hopefully challenging for top 4 and premierships in the future. And we ride that wave all together in the knighthood. That's what it's all about. Performance and profitability. So let's wrap it up. And I'm not going to play the winning song. We didn't win last week. It's been a while since I've heard that winning song. Things are a bit somber at the minute. And it is pretty dark times when you're potentially cheering for the Tigers to beat you. Look, I'm not going to be cheering for the Tigers. I think ultimately if we come out in the first 15 or 20 minutes and just look off, I'll be cheering for the Tigers. But I would like to see us get off to a good start and stand up in front of the home supporters and give us all what we want. And that's, a good performance. And, there's still hope that we'd make the top 8 this year. If we don't make the top 8 this year, it's criminal with the players that we've got in this team.
Yeah, I agree. And, the guys have just got to be like, we've got to win 5 games to get into that 8. It starts against the Tigers. Their mindset's just got to be about winning that game. And,
and they did it last year. So
yeah, let's hope.
Bring it on.
Bring it on.
Thanks everyone for your support. I've been getting a bit more active on social media, and which is not necessarily something I enjoy to do, but we'll try and share valuable content. We don't want to bombard the socials with too much stuff, but we kind of want to have a bit of a low profile and just focus on getting the content right and being accurate. But yeah, we're getting a bit more active on the socials and chiming in and trying to add in valuable content. I'll wrap it up there. Thanks again, James. Have a good rest of your night.
No worries, mate. I've enjoyed it. We've gone deep on this one, and yeah, it's been a good night. So I'll see you again next week. Hopefully after a victory.
Yeah, hopefully after a victory. If not, we'll have plenty of things to talk about.
Yes, again. All right, mate. See you later.
Thanks, mate. Catch you later.
Bye.